Welcome to your hypnotic bedtime story for sleep. If at any time during the story you fall asleep, that's okay. You can find out what happened in your story by reading the description. This story is by Jody and Tom Brady. Please lie down, relax, close your eyes, breathe deeply and evenly, and focus on my voice. If at any time during the story your thoughts begin to wander, this is your cue to focus on my voice. Breathe deeply and evenly. As you focus on your breathing, you may notice how your breathing is slowing down. Breathe in and breathe out. With each breath, you're becoming more and more relaxed. Starting at your feet, you're going to do a brief scan of your body to make sure you're not holding any tension. Focus on your feet, up your lower legs, your thighs, your lower body, now moving up your chest and back to your shoulders, your upper arms, your lower arms, your hands, your neck, up through your head, and now the muscles of your face. Breathe in and breathe out. Clear your mind of all upsetting and distracting thoughts and focus on my voice. Pay attention to the empty spaces between my words and let your mind rest there. You're floating in soft, warm blackness. You feel completely safe and secure. You'll be drifting off into almost sleep. Almost, but not quite. You'll still be able to hear my voice. And now you're drifting deeper and deeper. As you are now, you can let your mind drift and wander, drift and wander. You can relax and know that your mind beyond your mind is still listening to my voice. As you're starting to fall asleep, remember, as you fall asleep, you will still hear my voice and enjoy your story. Now you're going deeper and deeper, deeper and deeper, drifting deeper to sleep, deeper to sleep, deeper to sleep. You feel warm, loved, and comfortable, and completely safe and secure. As you are drifting deeper to sleep, and deeper to sleep, you may notice how my words can form sentences and scroll across. As you watch my words forming sentences and scrolling across, they can be any color, any font you'd like. As you watch my words forming sentences and scrolling across, you may notice that there are empty spaces between my words. Focus on these empty spaces and let your mind rest there. As I tell you your story, you may notice how my words can form pictures in your mind. If I say a shiny red ball, you see a shiny red ball. You will be completely relaxed and comfortable as you listen to this story. You will feel completely safe and secure. Your mind will remain free of all distracting thoughts. It is now time to begin your journey to somewhere else. As you begin your journey, you are lying in your bed as you are now. Focus on your hands and notice how they are still and completely relaxed. For a moment, ignore whatever it is your hands are feeling and just concentrate on feeling the life force energy within your hands, the feeling of aliveness. As you feel this, you may notice how it tingles a little bit, this energy that tells you you are alive. Feel this tingling energy begin to spread up your arms, into your upper arms and your shoulders, up your neck into your head. Feel it move in a wave down your body, into your feet. As you're feeling this life energy, this aliveness, feel it grow a little bit. Expand to just slightly outside your body. Focus on this energy being and feel it rise slightly above your bed, just to about a foot above your body. You're now floating just above your body in the soft blackness. As you float there, you can see a slightly glowing gold film across your field of vision. You look around yourself and explore your new energy body, and you notice that it is encased in a golden egg. You can see through this egg and know what's going on outside of it, but for now you're just floating encased in a gold egg of energy. Now you're floating up, higher above your bed. You're traveling up through the ceiling, traveling up above the building that you live in, and you're up in midair. Inside your egg you feel no wind or heat or coldness. You feel completely perfect and at peace. Above you, you can see the stars and a few clouds. Behind you, you can hear the sounds from home as you're drifting away from them. They're getting more and more quiet as you're floating up towards a gray cloud in the soft blackness. This gray cloud is now encasing your egg, and it's all misty around you. As you're floating up and up, you get a little bit of a butterfly feeling in your stomach. This is a very pleasant feeling. Up you float, and now you're beyond the clouds and everything is crystal clear, and you're looking at the stars. As you go up even further, more and more stars appear, big bright ones and tiny little ones, and places that there's so many of them, it forms like a haze. As you're going up towards the stars, you notice some of them are bigger and brighter than any stars you've ever seen before. You feel completely relaxed, warm, loved, and comfortable as you're floating up towards these stars. And then you're not sure if you're floating up, down, or sideways anymore. You're just aware that you're still traveling. You know you're traveling very, very fast, but inside your egg, it feels perfectly still. In amongst all the stars, you see one that is a little bit orange in color and larger than the other stars around it. You will yourself to go over there to see what it is. As you get closer, you know this is not a star but a planet. It is rusty in color and has dark brown and black patches on it. Towards the top and the bottom are little white dusted places that could be called ice caps. You move closer to it and fly across the surface, looking down at the mountains and the valleys and the rust-colored rocks and the orange sand, and enjoy the view of somewhere different. After you've traveled over Mars's surface for a while, you go back off into space to enjoy the myriad of stars. And in amongst the stars, there's another one that is larger and bluish in color, and you travel towards this one. As you get closer to it, you know it is light blue and beige in color, with stripes and swirls. You get up very close to it and travel across the surface, watching the light blue and beige swirls and stripes pass beneath you, and think this is a very beautiful planet. I believe it's called Jupiter. And now you set off for the next one. It doesn't take very long for you to be able to see one off in the distance that's orangey and yellow in color. As you're moving towards it, you see the familiar ring around it, and decide to head for the ring first, as this is the most interesting for you. As you get there, you look down, traveling over the surface of the ring, and you see sparkly places that are hazy in the rings and other bands that are made of large rocks. You look to your left as you're doing this and enjoy the warm reds, oranges, and yellows that are this planet. Then Saturn's left behind, you're back out in the stars, and you see a blue one. You travel towards the blue one. It's a beautiful shade of light blue as it gets closer. There are no stripes or swirls, just flat, glowing, soft, baby blue. The most beautiful color of baby blue you've ever seen. You get so close, this color fills up your entire field of vision, and you just hover there, watching it, enjoying how peaceful it is. Then you move on, and again, in the myriad of stars, you see another blue one. This one's a little different as you get closer. You notice that the surface has got stripes and swirls again, all in blue, dark blue to light blue. Some of the dark blues almost black, and some of the light blues almost white, and the rest of the stripes and swirls are all in varying shades of very bright blue. You hover over the surface of this one for a time, enjoy the view and how peaceful it is. Again off towards the stars, you look for Pluto, but you cannot see it, so you head off towards the stars. As you begin to travel more quickly, the stars begin to blur into stripes as you're going very, very fast amongst them, yet still inside your egg, you're completely safe and still and secure. And you can see galaxies here and there, light pinks and light blue, light purple, little hints of color here and there as you're traveling amongst the galaxies. Then up ahead you see something that looks like a swirling galaxy. It has very bright colors, bright greens and blues, white light and orange, swirling together to a center, and from the center, shooting out in either direction, are great plumes of multicolored gases. You feel yourself being drawn towards this thing, and as you're being drawn towards it, you see gas clouds of purple and pink and white. You float through them and they sparkle with stars. Other gas clouds that are orange and red and yellow. And again, you're floating through that and seeing twinkling and sparkling stars. Then you're going through shards of purple and pink and blue lights. You look to your right and you see a comet is racing you there. A big white ball of light streaming out behind it. Blue, yellow, green, pink, and red flares of gases burning up and streaming behind it as it races along beside you. As you get closer, galaxies begin to crowd in. Galaxies and gas clouds and comets all begin to kaleidoscope in upon your egg. All these images coming closer and closer together. As you're crowded in with colors flashing red and blue, as this begins to strobe and flash and crowd in upon you, you are still completely still inside your egg, watching the show, and just at the moment where it's beginning to become exciting, all of a sudden you are floating in blackness. Blackness, complete and total. There are no stars, no more galaxies or planets or black holes or comets, just complete, still blackness and silence. Then ahead you see a spot that is blacker than the rest of the black. Just when you thought that black couldn't get any blacker, there is a black beyond black, a black blacker than you've ever seen before. And your egg is being drawn towards this spot, and as you are engulfed by it, you feel as if you're traveling very fast, or you feel a gentle pressure pushing you back ever so gently. This soft weight feels somehow comforting as you relax, let go, and enjoy the ride. This happens for a time, and then suddenly the black is not as black as it was, and there are stars again. One of these stars is a little bigger than the other, and it is a light blue in color. You will yourself to move towards it. As you get closer, you see it swirled with white, and then you see there's a little bit of brown and a little green, and you realize that this planet is Earth. Almost, but not quite. The land masses and continents are different shapes and sizes than those of Earth. As you get closer to it, you see wispy white clouds and fluffy white clouds, land and ocean. Then you see streaks of fire traveling around your egg very quickly, reds and whites and yellows. Yet inside you don't feel hot. You're completely safe and secure, and the temperature is just perfect. The white and yellow and red flames fade away, and you are floating very high up above the wispy white clouds. As you sink down into them, you see them fluffy and soft, moving past your egg, and now you're moving towards the patches of billowing white clouds that are lower down. As you sink into a very large one, you are surrounded just by glowing whiteness, and you enjoy this feeling of feeling suspended in just whiteness for a time. The whiteness turns gray and misty and then goes away, and you see you are sinking down towards a large island. You see it's very green, and there's patches where there is open meadow and patches where there are trees. It's surrounded by a white ribbon of sandy beach in the middle of the jewel blue ocean. You get closer to a meadow that you're about to land in, and you're seeing flowers, little patches of purple and red and patches of multicolored. The meadow's absolutely alive with flowers. You get closer and land with a very soft bump on the green grass. Your bubble dissolves and you find yourself sitting there. You look down and realize you have your body again. It's a very warm, sunny day with the odd puffy cloud drifting by. A warm breeze is blowing, and it's very pleasant as you look around at the flowers. There's red ones that look like poppies with white pearls growing out of the center. Some of the flowers are up to your waist and others are growing in bunches closer to the ground. All the different colors you can imagine. These are almost like earth flowers. Almost, but not quite. The grass is very soft as it sways in the breeze and about knee length. To your right, you see rolling hills wandering off towards a thin blue stripe that's a little darker than the sky that you know is the ocean. To your left is dense forest. These are broadleaf trees that look almost like earth trees. Almost, but not quite. You decide it'll be more fun to explore the forest. You turn left and start walking towards it. As you do, you notice there's a path going into it. It looks wide and soft and inviting. As the meadow is giving way to the forest, there is shrubbery and bushes. Most of these bushes are of a type that are about up to your chest, and it's growing unusual flowers, very strange, exotic, unusual flowers. Folded up, rolling petals, giving way to bigger petals and even bigger ones. They're about the size of your hand, and the petals are clear, like they were made out of glass. Inside these clear petals, when you stare into them, are tiny rainbows. You touch the flower, expecting it to be hard and brittle, but it feels very warm and soft, as if the petals are filled with some kind of gel. You pick one to bring with you, and it immediately curls up into a little ball, looking like a little crystal ball with little rainbows inside. You put this in your pocket and follow the path into the deep woods. The path is very soft and mossy and cool beneath your feet. Dappled sunlight is filtering through the trees, and as you walk along, breathing deeply and evenly, enjoying the smell of leaves and moss, there's another smell too, that of flowers. Flowers growing out of the trees, flowers growing out of the ground between the trees, and there are vines on the trees that also have flowers. These are all different colors that you can imagine. Some are black, white, even brown, along with your reds and oranges and blues. They look almost like earth flowers, but they're all slightly different. Another thing you notice as you continue your walk is that there's more birds in this forest than what is ordinary for Earth. These birds also are very exotic and brightly colored. You stop when you see one on a branch to your left. It's sitting there just about eye level, and it looks like a white dove, only it has a long pointed beak that is silver, and its eyes are also silver. It looks very peaceful and not aggressive, so you reach out and pet its soft breast and it doesn't move. Then you pet its back and it still doesn't move. You enjoy that these birds are not afraid of you. As you continue to walk, something that looks like a very squat, pudgy peacock runs into the path and stops and looks at you. Its tail is about 2 feet long and made of only the eye part of the feathers. It nods and runs off into the flowers under the trees. As you're walking along, you're gradually feeling more and more restful, more and more at peace. You're listening to the bird songs and they are calming you. Some of them are warbling or gobbling. Others are singing sweet whistling melodies. Some are cawing or chirping. It's a very pleasant sound. As you're listening to this, you notice there's another sound, the sound of running water, the sound of a babbling brook. It sounds quite musical, and you see that the path up ahead is veering off to the right, and you catch a glimpse of the little creek up ahead. As you get there and continue to follow along the path, it slopes down slightly in places, and where it does, there's different rocks and formations in the little stream where there's small waterfalls and little bits of white water, and then there's places for a stretch where it's quite still and calm and slow moving. Some of the rocks are gray and covered in moss and look quite ordinary, whereas others come up out of the water like multicolored crystal formations, pinks or purples or blues. The sunlight sparkles through them and you enjoy this. There's something about the smell of the water that you can't describe. It's not a smell you've ever smelled before. It's very clean and clear and very good. And as you breathe in deeply through your nose and take in this scent, you notice that it is calming you, that you're feeling very calm and content, and there's something in the air that's filling you up with some kind of clean, calm energy. Up ahead now you see that the path is again turning off to the right, but this is because the creek is starting to even out and widen into a pond. Around the outside of this pond is very mossy, and the moss goes down in and under the water. Because the bottom of the pond is very mossy and dark green, the water looks dark green. It's completely still, almost, but not quite. There's just enough of a ripple on the surface to cause the sunlight to dance happily on it. As you're walking along the mossy bank of this wonderful pond, you're feeling more and more calm and content and serene. Never in your life have you felt this completely at peace. You stop for a moment and wade into the water just up past your ankles. The water feels very, very warm, and there is an energy in it, and you feel this soaking up your legs, past your waist, through your chest. This melting warm feeling is now spreading down your arms and into your hands. Heavy, melting warm feeling is now coming up your neck and into your head. You feel heavy, warm, and relaxed. You're almost throbbing with complete and total relaxation. You decide you want to take a swim. So you step back up onto the shore, but just when you're about to take off your clothes, to your right, you see someone standing on the shore. It's a young woman, slightly below average height. She has long, white, wavy hair that's shining in the sun and falls heavily and thickly to her knees. She has a round face and very, very pale white skin. She's wearing a white robe that comes from high up on her neck to the ground. It's made of some flimsy, floaty material that's stirring in the breeze, and you can almost see through it. Almost, but not quite. As you smile and walk towards her, she just stands there very still, staring at you. You notice that her eyes are reddish pink. In a kaleidoscope type of way, they're swirling, and the colors are melting into each other and coming apart and shooting off in little shards. As you come closer, you keep staring at her eyes as they're quite hypnotic. You can't help but keep staring at them. And as you do, coming towards her, you stop, and you feel as if you've lost all your will, All as you can do is keep staring into the eyes with the round black pupils in the middle that are getting a little bigger and a little smaller, and you're staring into the pupils, and deep, deep within them you're seeing the stars and the galaxies again. You begin to feel very, very tired and very sleepy, like you just want to lie down on the moss and go to sleep. She turns around and begins to walk away from you, and as she walks, she more floats than walks. You cannot see any feet below her gown. You follow her, feeling compelled to do so. There's something about her you don't really like, but you still think you have to follow her. She turns to the right up another mossy path that goes into the woods, and you follow her along the mossy path, going deeper into the dark woods. As you walk along behind her, you begin to feel very, very sad and lonely, like your life is about to be over. This is not a very good feeling. The trees and flowers and birds around you are turning gray. There's no more flowers and no more birds, and the trees, instead of being a bright, vibrant emerald green like they were before, are now just becoming more and more gray and more sad and wilted looking. And inside of you also is feeling very heavy and gray and sad. You keep walking even though you don't want to, and you notice up ahead, in the side of the hill, is an entrance to a cave just big enough for a person to walk through. She's reached the entrance to the cave and is turned around and is staring at you. As you're staring into those eyes and walking towards them, you know if you go into that cave that nothing good will ever happen to you again, and you'll never see anything beautiful again, that you're about to sink deeper and deeper into a dark place that is not a happy place. You reach into your pocket for your little crystal ball flower, and you want to look at it because you believe this is going to be the last beautiful thing you ever see. As you're approaching the entrance to the cave, you take it out and look, and you notice the little rainbows in it have turned to rainbow lights and are starting to dance around in the flower. Then the flower petals start to blink on and off different colors, and there's a warm energy coming out of the flower that's seeping into your hand. Your other hand comes up to cup the flower also, and you begin to feel warm and vibrant and alive as the energy travels up your arms, into your chest. It's going down through your stomach, into your legs, down into the ground where your feet are firmly planted, like they don't have to move right now if you don't want them to. Now the energy is going up your neck, into your head, and your face feels warm and flushed. All of a sudden, everything around you looks sharper and clearer, and the air looks clearer. You look into her eyes and you're no longer hypnotized by them. You feel you know her for who she really is. As you're holding the flower, you begin to feel as if you're drawn backwards and your feet come off the ground. You're drawn backwards quicker and quicker, and the path and the trees and the sky above become like a tunnel. As you're traveling backward faster and faster, she begins flying through the tunnel towards you with her white wavy hair streaming out behind her, her arms and legs streaming behind her, and as she comes face first towards you, her red and pink eyes now glowing. She looks very determined and very angry. You look at the flower, and now it is blinking many different colors, and shards of color light are streaming out of it, lighting up the tunnel around you. You hold the flower out towards her, and blue energy streams out of it, and she's covered in lightning, crackling and hissing. She's writhing and tumbling back into the tunnel, back away from you. And then suddenly you find yourself just standing again on the mossy path, just where you were, only she is now lying on the ground. Her skin has turned blue. In places dark blue, in other places a light robin's egg blue. Around her mouth and eyes, it's a deep purple blue. She's lying very still on her side, and you notice how small and frail she really looks, and you suddenly feel very sorry that this all happened. You reach down and nudge her, and her whole body wobbles like a waterbed for a moment, and then it is still again. You hold your hand in front of her mouth, and she is not breathing. You back away for a moment and try and think of something you could do to help. You look down at the flower in your hand that is again looking as it did when you picked it. Just a clear glass-like flower with the little rainbow sparkles in it. You look down at her hand lying face up on the ground, and you place the flower in it. Around the flower, the skin begins to turn normal colored. This color starts spreading across her whole hand and up her wrist, and disappears up into her sleeve. You suddenly feel a little nervous about what you have done, because you don't want to be brought into the cave. So you turn around and begin to run towards the beach. As you look down at your feet, running along the mossy path, you're very surprised at how light you feel and how easy it is to run very fast. In no time at all, you're back at the lake. You turn around and look up the path, and nobody's following you. Way off in the distance in the darkness, you think you might be able to see the shape of something moving, but maybe not. Something tells you it's time to go back into the water, that you'll be safe there. So you walk back into the water, and as you do, that warm, melting feeling of deep relaxation begins to soak into your feet again and travel up your legs, up your lower body, a warm, slight burning feeling in your chest that is very pleasant, that spreads down your arms, into your hands, up your neck, and into your head. You feel almost drunk with it, very warm, very heavy, very relaxed, just a little drowsy and a little sleepy. You feel completely content and completely safe. As you turn around and look up the path, you don't see anything at all. You walk, swishing your feet in the water, knowing you're safe there. The water's very warm and is filling you with a very deep, relaxing energy. After a time you look back and still no one is following you, and to your right is another path going into the woods, and you decide it's time to go back to the meadow, so you follow this path. It goes uphill a little bit, and when you get to the top of the hill, the land slopes away back into the meadow of flowers. As the forest gives way to meadow, there is another line of the bushes with the crystal flowers, and you pick one again, and again it turns into a little ball, and you put it in your pocket. Just up ahead to your right, standing on a little grassy knoll, is a man. He's a tall, thin-built man with a long, thin face. He has brown skin and very close-cropped black hair going gray at the temples. He looks to be about 50 years old. He's wearing a black suit, a white shirt, and a yellow tie. He has an air of calm confidence about him as he stands there, looking serious and amused at the same time with his hands folded in front of him, waiting for you. You leave the path and cut through the grass that is soft and knee-deep and walk past the flowers, feeling very calm and content as you walk up to him and offer him your hand. He shakes your hand warmly and firmly and tells you he's very glad that you're there. He tells you that you have passed the test, that you are not only a person of unusually strong spirit, but you're also kind and can show mercy. You're not sure what the test is about, but you're very glad that you've passed it. He claps his hands and calls Sylvia very loudly. Then he does it again. He's looking over your shoulder, so you turn around, and the girl from the forest is running towards you. Only now, her hair is turned a honey brown with blonde streaks in it. Her skin is a light brown color. As she's running towards you smiling with pretty, straight, even white teeth. You don't feel afraid of her for some reason. You realize this was all part of the joke. She hugs the man in the suit, and then she hugs you, and then she claps her hands and yells, "Ali Ali come free." You're very surprised to see a great number of people coming out of the flower bushes at the edge of the forest. There's about 100 of them, men and women, boys and girls, all different colors, all wearing the same thing, the same white robe that Sylvia's wearing. They're all clapping and laughing and coming towards you and waving and congratulating you. You're feeling very good about yourself right now. You hold out your hand to Sylvia, and she takes your hand in both of her small warm ones and smiles up at you, and when she does, you notice there's something very unusual about her eyes. Her eyes are now a deep dark brown, but they have little gold flecks in them, little gold flecks that are sparkling. As you watch these little sparkles as they twinkle at you, you find them very fascinating until all that you can see is the deep brown eyes with the twinkles in them. The twinkles begin to lift out of her eyes and are covering your entire field of vision. You're seeing gold sparkles all around you. And then your hands begin to tingle with that familiar tingling feeling that lets you know that you're alive. You feel this energy going up your arms, into your chest, down your body, up your neck, and into your head. You're fascinated by these sparkles as you feel the vibration that is your life force begins to grow. It begins to grow just a little bit bigger than your body, and you realize that you're no longer in your body. Your body is in you. And it begins to dissolve and melt away as you're looking at the gold sparkles. They disperse just a little bit, but not much. Enough for you to see that you're beginning to float up off the ground in your egg again. You look down at the people who are cheering and waving at you as you're floating up again into the cloud. And in the cloud you see just soft whiteness all around you and the faint gold glow from your egg. Now you're on the other side of the cloud, going up. You're looking at the blue of the sky, and the blue begins to fade into black, and you're floating in the black, soft night of stars out in space. As you float along, you notice a spot that is blacker than the rest of the space around it, and you travel towards that spot. As you travel towards it, you feel a soft weight against your body as you're pulled into it. You're pulled into it, and then you're just floating again in absolute, quiet, still, soft blackness. You float there for a time, and now you feel yourself beginning to sink. You're sinking deeper and deeper into the soft blackness. Deeper and deeper, and as you do, you feel more and more relaxed. You feel very tired and very sleepy. You're beginning to get that feeling you get just before you drift off to sleep. As you're following this feeling, you feel that you are now back in your bed, drifting off into a long, sound sleep. You're drifting deeper and deeper into sleep. When I count backwards from 10, say 0 and good night, you will drift off into a long, sound sleep. Wake up tomorrow feeling refreshed and energized and ready to do what needs to be done. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Good night.